coast or risk crashing at retirement. In this educational episode, I'm going to discuss why at retirement planning is far more critical than for retirement planning. I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for nearly 5 decades, helping people safely go through retirement without outliving their money, but also helping people get to that destination. But so many people crash and burn during retirement due to the negative impact of taxes, inflation, and market volatility. And so when do most skiers, I'm a skier, and I've noticed that a lot of skiers, when do they get hurt the most? It's usually the last hour of the ski day. Why? Well, they're tired, they're worn out, and oftentimes they take unnecessary risks coming down the last run of the day. I see it all the time. So what we want to do is help you come down the mountain, so to speak, your retirement, your golden years, in the warmth and safety of a gondola, so to speak, so that you don't crash and burn during your golden years. What are the negative impacts that cause most people to crash and burn? Again, number 1 is taxes, 2 is inflation, and 3 is market volatility. So these dangers, taxes, inflation, and market volatility, cause most retirees to outlive their money, sometimes within 7 years, 10 years, 12 years. Let me explain why. Okay. So many times people may accumulate a pretty good nest egg. Let's say $1 million nest egg, and let's say it's earning 10%. Well, you theoretically ought to be able to pull out $100,000 a year without depleting your $1 million, right? Well, let's talk about taxes first of all. A lot of people find themselves in just as higher tax bracket as they were ever in during their earning years, even though they were told by their advisor for decades, oh, you'll likely be in a lower tax bracket, so keep deferring in these IRAs and 401ks. Now, smart people realized if they were saving money, they likely would not be in a lower tax bracket because of irresponsible government spending, the printing of money. Taxes will be likely higher. I ask most audiences, how many of you think that in the long run, taxes will really be lower? I get nothing but crickets. How many think they're going to be the same? 1 or 2 people raise their hands. But when I ask, how many think that taxes will likely be higher? Yeah, a sea of hands goes up. And then I ask people, well, then why are you postponing and deferring, procrastinating, paying tax to some future perceived unknown advantage? And then you're going to withdraw your money out of those tax-deferred IRAs or 401ks when it's worth more, you have more money, and taxes will be higher. And then all of a sudden they have this wake-up call. Some had the wake-up call earlier and they converted to Roths. Now, if you've watched very many of my videos on this channel, I've said I've never owned an IRA or 401k. Yep, never will. But I've never owned a Roth IRA or 401k. Never will. A Roth is a step in the right direction. Roths were passed in 1997 when the government was hard up for tax revenue. They didn't want to wait till people retired to tax them on their IRAs or 401ks each year as they withdrew money. They needed tax revenue sooner than later. And that's when Senator Roth said, I have an idea. We can name it after me. Let's introduce a Roth IRA, where people can convert a traditional IRA or 401k and pay the tax now. And that gave them tax revenue. The government did it for them, not for us. But you pay tax, and then you continue to accumulate the net after tax on a tax-free basis, and then you could access the money tax-free. That's a Roth. Well, so there's 2 benefits to a Roth. You accumulate your money tax-free, and you can access it tax-free. My favorite financial vehicle, which I call the Laser Fund, LASER is an acronym that stands for Liquid Asset Safely Earning Returns. It's a max-funded indexed universal life insurance contract if it's structured correctly and funded properly. And if it is, you can likely earn by rebalancing every year what I have averaged, which is 11.17% since 1997, and netting 10.07 earning 11, netting 10 after all the costs of insurance at the end of the day. And so that means $1 million nest egg could generate $100,000 a year of income. The problem is, if you thought you could average 10% in the market, which most people who have their money in the market at retirement, they panic when the market drops 20, 30%, and they sell low, and then they wait until the market comes back up, and then they buy high. And so the average return is only about 3.5% because they're buying and selling at the wrong time. And this is what precipitated the 4% rule in the financial services industry, where most broker-dealers will only allow the asset managers to let their clients withdraw 4% a year, a 4% payout, $40,000 on $1 million nest egg, because they don't want to be sued for you outliving your money. If you take out more than 4%, they want you to sign a waiver that you won't sue them. Well, that's pretty pathetic to me. So what happens is people are crashing and burning because in a 33% tax bracket, let's say, you have to pull out 50% more money. See, on $1 million nest egg, you'd have to pull out $150,000, pay tax of 33% on 150, which is 50, to net $100,000 to buy gas and groceries. And so that $1 million nest egg will be totally gone, even if it was earning 10% in 11 years. If you were able to pull out $100,000 a year and it's tax-free, at the end of 11 years, you still have your $1 million. Okay. In fact, you could keep pulling out $100,000 a year for another 20 years, and you still have your $1 million. Another 20 years of $100,000 of income is $2 million. Plus, you still have your $1 million. That's a $3 million better strategy than an IRA or 401k with $1 million in it that is going to crash and burn. Does that make sense? And so you want to eliminate the danger of taxes, and I'm talking about the riding in the warmth of the gondola to go down the mountain, so that you do not outlive your money. Convert to tax-free. Now, inflation, by using indexing, you're linking your returns to the things that inflate, because sometimes people say, well, I think if we tightened our belt, we could get by on $50,000 after tax. Well, to net $50,000 in a 33% bracket, you have to pull out $75,000 to net $50,000. But at inflation, the real rate of inflation as of the recording of this episode is well over 15%. The government, when they report the CPI, ever since the early 1980s, does not include the cost of gasoline and prescriptions and certain things. And so they report inflation at 8.7% to give Social Security recipients an 8.7% increase to act like they're heroes. Well, the real rate of inflation is usually triple that. In the year 2021 to 2022, many of our clients were able to earn rates of return of 15%. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many of our clients using IUL locked in gains of 25% and even 61.33% on IUL. So by using indexing, you're linking your returns to the things that inflate. So inflation, I don't like it any more than anybody, but it doesn't hurt me. And then with market volatility, you have indexing where your money is not in the market. When the market goes down, you may not make much that year, but you don't lose. When the market goes up, you get to benefit because your money is safely tucked in the insurance company and they're paying you whatever the S&P does. How can they afford to do that? Because the interest on your million that they're earning, which is maybe only 4 or 5%, but 4% on $1 million is $40,000. You're letting the insurance company use the interest on your million to buy upside options in the S&P or the Dow Jones, so that if the market goes up, they have the wherewithal, because of those options, to pay you 10, 12%, 25%. But if the market loses, those options expire, worthless, but you still have your million because your money is not in the market. Okay, that's indexing. I'm not talking about index mutual fund. So the way that IUL solves these is you're converting to tax-free accumulation inside of an IUL policy. You're linking your returns to the things that inflate, and you're using indexing where you participate when the market goes up. You do not lose when the market goes down. What are the greatest strengths of max-funded IUL? You have the ability to access your money when you need it, okay? Liquidity. Number two, you have safety, not only of the institution, but safety of principal. If you set aside $1 million in there, you will not lose due to market downturns. But any year you make money, that becomes newly protected principal. From March of 2020 to March of 2021, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, many savvy advisors that I train told their clients to link to a 1-year point-to-point with their IUL with no cap. So the chance of the market being up considerably a year after March of 2020, when it dropped down about 30%, was highly likely. And it was. It went up 66.33%. Well, when you choose that, they subtract 5 percentage points, and clients got credited 61.33%. We had a client that had $852,000 in his IUL policy in March of 2020. He didn't add a dime to it. A year later, he made a $535,000 tax-free. His balance was $1,380,000 some odd $1,000 1 year later. The next year, if the market would have crashed 40%, he would not have lost one dime of that $1,380,000. The $500,000 he made the year before is locked in, okay? And so that's the beauty of safety of principal. Any money you make becomes newly protected principal. You will not lose in future years money you made in previous years due to a market downturn. And then, of course, you are able to earn a predictable rate of return, not always, 61% or even 25%. But I've averaged 11 and netted 10. The cost of the insurance has only drained out 1 percentage point. Cash on cash, I've averaged 10% over the life of my IUL policies, retroactive back to day one. So if you want to learn more how you can do this, I want to gift you a copy of one of our most recent best-selling books. This has been flying off of our warehouse shelves. I don't want you to miss out. So I want to help you claim a free copy. These retail for $20 on Amazon. I'll gift you one. Now, it's actually 2 books in one. This white-covered side contains about 200 pages, 14 chapters, with all the charts and graphs and explanations if you're a left brain learner. If you're more of a right brain learner, you learn by stories. You flip it over to this one, the orange covered side, and it's about 100 pages, 12 chapters with 62 actual client stories of how a max-funded IUL can be used as a dream solution for all kinds of financial goals, not just retirement. If you want to use your whole brain, read both of these books. But you claim your free copy by going to laserfund.com, laserfund.com, or click on the link below. And you contribute a nominal amount to the shipping and handling. I require a little bit of skin in the game. And I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I will pay for the book. I'll fire out a hard copy to you. And when you're in there, check out, if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, there's audio and video versions. Also, check out our educational webinars that are free, that we teach on a regular basis. You can also schedule an appointment to talk to an IUL professional to see how a laser fund can be structured correctly and funded properly in your particular set of circumstances so that you can get down the mountain safely during your golden years.